guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, you guys, I am going to be trying Patti Labelle's, Dolly Parton's, and Cardier Brown's recipes for baked southern macaroni and cheese, y'all. So throughout this video, you guys, I'm going to be ranking each recipe 1 through 10 based on my qualities for a great pan of macaroni and cheese, creaminess, cheesiness, seasonings, all the things, okay? So you definitely are going to be getting the true tea, all right, from this video. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join our growing foodie family. Welcome to all of my new subscribers, and without further ado, y'all, let's get into the video.
All right, you guys, so we are going to go ahead and get started on Patti's recipe, y'all. So as I mentioned, we are going to be following the exact recipe, the suggested amount of ingredients, as well as following the recipe step by step so that our baked macaroni and cheeses come out just as suggested by Miss Patti, Dolly, as well as Miss Cardier, okay? All right, so here I'm just showing y'all what we're going to be using today, honey. So we got some oil, macaroni, butter, some Munster cheese, mild cheddar, sharp cheddar, Monterey Jack, child, half and half, Velveeta, eggs, seasoning salt, and ground pepper. Y'all, Patti ain't playing because I know there was at least about 4 or 5 cheeses I done listed, okay? Got your girl about to run out of breath, honey.
Alright, y'all, so the water is boiling for Patti's recipe. Now, I looked at the recipe online. I think it was from food.com. I'll post it in the description box below. But it doesn't call for any salt in the recipe for the water. And y'all know I like to season my food, so we're going to see how this goes, how it turns out in the end. It does not call for any salt in the water to boil the pasta. So we're gonna see how this comes out.
Okay guys, first step for Miss Patti's recipe is to butter that bacon dish, honey, and then we're gonna toss our elbow macaroni into that unsalted water. Y'all don't understand how much that bothered my soul, but hey, we're gonna go with it, okay? So add that pasta into your water along with the vegetable oil, and we're going to cook this for 7 minutes as suggested on the recipe. Once it is cooked, the recipe says to return it to the pot and add in your melted butter and stir that into the macaroni. Then we're going to add in some of our cheese as well as 2 beaten eggs, some half and half, and the cubed Velveeta cheese. And we're also going to go in, y'all, with the Lawry's seasoning salt. Now, it only called for 1/4 teaspoon of seasoning salt. That's right, y'all, 1/4 teaspoon, and an 1/8 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Child, go ahead and mix that up, and we're gonna add that to our buttered baking dish. Place this in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes at 350 degrees, and it says to serve hot, and it also says that the edges will come out golden brown and bubbly. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in the oven, and this is what she looking like coming out. You know, nothing too heavy, something slight. It's not very brown and golden on the top, but nonetheless, we're about to dig in and see what she tastes like.
Alright, y'all, so Patti's mac and cheese just came out of the oven. It browned a little bit on top. I followed the instructions to a T, so it'll come out just like how she suggested. It didn't brown as much on top the way that I prefer my mac and cheese, but we are definitely about to go ahead and dig in and have a taste because it smells really, really good. Alright, y'all, this is what she looking like right here. It's kind of brown on top. It says to try hot, straight out of the oven. So let's go ahead and take a bite, and I'm gonna try not to burn my mouth. It's definitely cheesy. It's very creamy. The seasoning is there slightly, but it's not a lot. Definitely could have used another teaspoon of the seasoning salt, maybe a little bit more pepper. It didn't brown as much as I would like, but overall it's pretty good. The flavor is there, it's very cheesy, it's very creamy, and the Velveeta is helping a lot with the missing like salt aspect. But I would definitely make this again with a few more tweaks, and I would give this about 7.5, maybe 7.8. If it had a little bit more seasoning, it would definitely get a higher ranking, just flavor-wise. But overall, it's a good mac and cheese, and I would definitely make this again with more tweaks to it. All right guys, so now we're going to jump in directly to Dolly's recipe for her Southern baked macaroni and cheese. Now, Patti's was good. Patti's was, you know, it was straight, it was cool, about a cool 7.5 in that range. But now we are going to try Dolly's recipe, and her recipe, you guys, actually includes a little bit more, so it may have a little bit more flavor. All right, we're going to be using ground mustard. Also have some sour cream. Her recipe calls for cheddar cheese. It didn't say which one specifically, so I just got medium cheddar. And then hers also calls for Monterey Jack cheese as well, similar to Patti's. And we're also going to use some Velveeta. So we're going to go ahead and whip that up, get the pasta things boiling, get this cheese shredded so we can stick her in the oven, and then we can go ahead and taste, y'all. And Dolly's recipe actually calls for 1 teaspoon of salt to add into the bowl of water with the pasta. So I'm hoping that that helps amp up the flavor, because like I mentioned before, Patti's recipe did not call for any salt in the water, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get that started, get all our cheeses and stuff grated, and we'll come right back here to mix up Dolly's mac and cheese.
Okay guys, so now we are getting ready to start Dolly's mac and cheese, y'all. Miss 9 to 5, okay? Dolly's mac and cheese only calls for 2 cups of elbow macaroni, a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and then guys, we're gonna go in with 2 beaten eggs, some milk. We're gonna hit it with some sour cream, y'all. Give it that extra twang, as well as 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter and some ground mustard. Once we have all that in there, we're gonna give it a good mix, and then we're gonna go in with our Velveeta cheese, as well as our shredded cheddar cheese and shredded Monterey Jack cheese. And y'all, you can already see that Dolly's recipe is way creamier than Patti's, y'all. No shade, no team is Patti, but Dolly had that creamy mac and cheese, okay? So we're going to add that to our baking dish and place it in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. The recipe then calls to let the mac and cheese rest for 15 minutes, and this is what she's looking like while she resting, honey. She just came out of the oven, so we're about to go ahead and give that a try, y'all.
Okay y'all, so Dolly's mac and cheese just came out of the oven, and honey, she looking right, okay? It's browned on the top. It looks very cheesy, more cheesy and creamy compared to Patti's recipe. It smells super good, so I am ready to dig in, y'all. Let's go ahead and give this a taste test so we can rate Dolly Parton's baked mac and cheese. So this is what she's looking like right here. Ding, 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 ding. It's still hot. It smells very, very good. So we're going to go ahead and give it a taste test. Way cheesier than the first one. I like the mustard powder. Surprisingly, I can actually taste it. The cheeses are all very good. This is a good one. I'm gonna give Dolly's a, give her an 8, because I can taste everything. Butter, the cheese, it's kind of custard-like because of the eggs, and that little bit of salt, believe it or not, y'all, helped with the flavor. Okay, so please don't skimp out on salt when you're making your food, because it definitely helps. This is really good. I'm gonna give her an 8 out of 10, y'all. Delicious. Good. So y'all, I told y'all this is gonna be a real video with my real, true, honest opinions. Y'all, why Dolly mac and cheese so good? Y'all, I'm over here trying to get started on Cardier's recipe, but this mac and cheese is good. Hold on, y'all, she creamy, cheesy, and y'all saw we put no seasoning in this recipe. All this flavor is straight from butter, sour cream, mustard powder, cheese. That's it. So good. Again, y'all, I think I'm going to change my rating. I'm going to give Dolly actually an 8.5 out of 10. because I do prefer just a little bit more flavor. But y'all, this right here, she good, y'all. She good. Okay, you guys, so we just got done with Dolly's recipe. Now it's time to get into Cardier's. Y'all, I love Cartier Brown. I love her show Delicious Miss Brown on the Food Network. And this is her recipe for baked southern macaroni and cheese. It looks extremely decadent and I cannot wait to get into it.
Okay guys, last but not least, it is time for Miss Cartier Brown, Delicious Miss Brown, straight from the 843, Charleston, South Carolina, y'all. It's time to get into this baked macaroni and cheese. So as you guys can see, same old, we just buttered our pan. She did call to salt the water, so we went heavily with the salt, honey. Gotta make it taste like the sea. Add that pasta in, and then we're gonna start making our roux, you guys. So the roux is just gonna be some butter. We're gonna add in our all-purpose flour and just get that combined until the flour has cooked out a bit. Once that has cooked out a bit, we are gonna go in with some heavy cream, and we're also gonna go in with some milk and some cream cheese, you guys. Let that cream cheese melt into the roux. Then we're gonna hit it with our shredded cheddar cheese. Once that sharp cheddar cheese has melted, you guys, we are gonna go in with our granulated garlic, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a quarter teaspoon of pepper, y'all. Once all of that is mixed in together per the recipe, we're gonna remove the cheese sauce from the heat, and then we are gonna stir in the macaroni noodles. Now the next step after we have stirred in the macaroni noodles, you guys, is one that I live for, because honestly this is the only recipe that called for this. It says to season y'all with salt and pepper, honey. So that's what we did. We seasoned her with some salt and pepper, and now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and whisk together our eggs and sour cream in a bowl, and then we're going to fold that into our macaroni and cheese. Okay, so we have our prepared baking dish. Is already buttered and all of that good stuff. Add the macaroni mixture into our buttered baking dish, and then we're just going to fold in our cubed cheddar cheese, and then we're going to top it with the reserved half cup of shredded cheddar. Now you guys, I normally like to load on the shredded cheddar on top of my mac and cheese just to make sure that it gets that nice golden cheesy crust, but hey, we're following all the recipes to the T, okay, just so it can come out how it is intended. We have our oven preheated to 350 degrees. It says to bake for 20 minutes, and then we're going to loosely cover it with foil and bake for an additional 10 to 15 minutes more, you guys.
Mac and cheese is done. We're about to take it out of the oven. It smells really good. It definitely has a different smell than the other two recipes, and I think it's because she actually seasoned this one, y'all. So I have very high hopes for this. We are about to take it out the oven and give her a try.
So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. As I mentioned, we followed the steps to the T. This is what the top is looking like. I prefer a cheesier golden top, but hey, we are gonna go with it and give Miss Cardier's macaroni and cheese a try, y'all.
Alright, you guys, so here it is. This is Cartier Brown's, Delicious Miss Brown's Southern Baked Macaroni and Cheese. The smell is amazing. I can definitely smell all of the seasonings. The noodles appear to be very tender still. I can smell all of the cheeses, the butter. It looks really creamy, so I'm going to give this a go. Not too much of a cheese pull, and it also didn't really brown that much on the top, but it still smells really good. That gets a 9. That's a 9 out of 10. That's really good. This gets a 9 out of 10, y'all, simply because she put in the instructions to season the freaking food, to season the mac and cheese. So because she adds seasonings to hers, and because she also used the sour cream, it's very good. Sour cream gives it a tanginess. I don't prefer the Velveeta cheese. I don't like the processed flavor. This one does not call for Velveeta cheese, honey, and it is the bomb. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10, y'all. Super good. Going for one more bite. Okay guys, so overall all three of these recipes were actually pretty decent. I would say I had very high hopes for Patti's recipe, and Cardier's actually ended up being my favorite. Overall, one thing I would say about all three recipes is that I feel like they could have incorporated just a little bit more cheese on top of the actual macaroni and cheese, which would have allowed them to brown. All three of them consistently did not have the color on top that I'm used to seeing with baked macaroni and cheese, which was kind of a letdown because I love for my mac and cheese to be browned on top. But as I mentioned, pretty good solid recipes. Cardier's is definitely the best, definitely the most flavorful. I was a tad bit let down with Patti's. It was good, but it definitely lacked a lot of flavor. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, cooking and hanging with your girl. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below to join our growing foodie family. Welcome again to all of my new subscribers, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!